Welcome to the Sow and Harvest section of the course. Here, what my goal is to help you start to think like a hunter, but a certain kind of hunter, an asset hunter. I know this might sound a little bit dorky, but I'm telling you this is the way that you want your mind to be tuned when you start to think about how to take the money that you've earned from your work and invest it so that you can grow wealthy. And you should be doing this even before you have a dime to invest, because some of those side hustles that we were talking about in the previous section, those can be some of your assets. So what am I talking about with asset? Well, there's a lot of definitions of what an asset means, but really what you should be thinking of is that there are certain things that you can own in your possession that generate rents. R-E-N-T-S, rents. So things like financial assets. So these can generate rents for you either through capital gains when they gain value over time, or a lot of financial assets pay dividends. Like for example, bonds, they send you checks every so often, and that is cash into your pocket. That's a rent. Also, real assets generate rents, sometimes practical rents. For example, owning an apartment in a beach town that you rent out when you're not there. That's an asset, right? Or publishing a book that sells 1,000 copies a year. That is generating royalties, which is a form of rents. As you go through this section, I have 3 goals for you. The first goal is for you to turn off your monkey brain. And you might be thinking, what are you talking about? We're going to get to that soon. It's pretty intriguing stuff. But the idea here is that as animal creatures, we tend to be risk averse. That is, we tend to avoid risks whenever possible. That's because sometime thousands of years ago, we were running on the plains and we wanted to avoid the risk of getting eaten. It's built into us. But here's my goal with this first part of 3. I want you to start to think of shifting your mind from avoiding risks to managing risks. Avoiding risks, managing risks. As you're going to see, there's a fundamental relationship between risk and reward. And a lot of times, this relationship is the foundation for how you generate wealth. Okay, next, I want you to shift your mind from an employee's mindset to an owner's mindset. What I mean by that is that most of us have to work for our money. But let's start thinking about how our money can work for us. That's kind of part about this whole thing that I've been trying to bring to you this whole time. Don't let the system work you. You can work the system. Similarly, with your money, you can work for your money, but you also want your money to work for you. That's the investor's mindset. Okay, now the third and final mindset shift that I'm going to try to encourage you to take during this section of the course is from a get-rich-quick or a speculator's mindset to an investor's mindset. This is a subtle transition, but when we think about people who make money from investing, oftentimes we're imagining Wall Street. You know, these big trading floors and people are like, I just made $1 million. So that's not what I'm talking about with investing. I'm talking about you getting used to the idea of hunting for good assets that you can buy at good prices or that you can create and that you can own for a long time. Speculators try to get rich quick. Investors get good assets at good prices, and they hold them and they grow wealthy. So stay with me for the next few minutes here in this section, and we're going to address each of these mind shifts individually. You're going to learn in the next 30 minutes or so, what is an ETF? What's a mutual fund, a bond, a stock, real assets? How do these all play into me becoming wealthier? And you're going to notice that I'm using a lot of farming imagery in this section. Sow and harvest, like putting seeds in the ground, watching them grow, and then cultivating them. That's because what I've learned as I've grown my personal wealth is that sometimes you need to plant seeds. And then later on, you never know how you're going to harvest them, when you're going to need them. For example, You start writing a book. You might not plan to publish that book, but that doesn't mean that you shouldn't write it. Maybe it just so happens that you write on some topic that becomes very popular and you decide, you know what, I never published my writing on that topic, but now's the perfect time to do it. In some way, that's a form of buying low and selling high. So you see what I'm talking about here? You want to develop this asset hunter's mindset, this mindset of planting things that might be valuable later as a habit. And then later, you're going to reap the rewards of making the decision to invest early in planting those seeds.